Mom and Pop America, my blood brothers across the heartland, all across this great country, especially here in the Republic of Texas, we are well aware of the orgy of fake news, the runaway dishonesty, the abject hatred that comes from the left. It's not the left isn't bullying. It's pure terrorism when they can get away with such nasty lies. And let me make it perfectly clear. I'm on the board of directors of the National Rifle Association for the last 26 or so years, and I represent Mom and Pop America, real working hard, playing hard Americans in the asset column who know that we have a gift of life from God and a moral obligation and a constitutional guarantee to keep and bear arms to defend our life.
We've been actually talking about that for a long time. Let me answer the question. You can shout me down when I'm finished, but let me answer Emma's question. It is not federal law for states to report convictions to the NICS system. It's not federally mandated. That's the big question, and I wish that this network had also covered this more as other media networks would have covered it. That's a huge... Wait a second.
You guys, if I can't hear her statement, I can't come up with a rebuttal. Please.
Wait a second.
They then began yelling, "Burn her, burn her, burn her." And she said if security hadn't gotten her out of there, they would have attacked her because they were running up on the stage. They have billboards that say, "Kill Republicans." They have hashtag "Hunt Republicans." We're about to go to Ted Nugent to give us his take on this. Now, if you give in to this bullying that the media is engaged in, trying to ban the NRA from being able to engage in commerce, banning gun shops from having bank accounts, that's Nazi Germany when you cut people off because they're a class of people or they have a right. That is what America is all about. And Mexico's got 150,000 dead people, and they have no Second Amendment because only the criminals have the guns and the corrupt government. But I don't have to go through these arguments anymore. The Democrats know that. And speaking right now is the president. I'm getting transcripts of it as it comes in, but I watched it during the break. And he said, nobody talks about the families and the survivors. But I've told the NRA, I just met with them, we've got to do something. And we know they've already floated it. 21 to buy rifles. Then it means young people can't even shoot. That's where they're going. They've always wanted to kill youth shooting, kill the culture. Make it taboo, make it evil. And they're talking about other things when this individual, if he was the shooter, because there's questions of other students, not the four they put on the news, but the four they push, but the ones we've had on, the ones that are on local news, they say over and over and over again that it just makes your head spin that there were multiple shooters and there were like 10 police cars lined up outside during the shooting, and there were men in camo, multiple men inside picking up dead bodies during the shooting, and then they're putting dead bodies in the backs of cars during the shooting. And we have video of confirming what the students say. I don't know what happened there. I don't know, but all the news has said that Ted Nugent, Alex Jones, Donald Trump Jr. said nobody died, and they're all crisis actors that came in, and the whole thing's fake. There's no video of us saying that. We have simply said people reporting multiple shooters, and why is it 4 kids, 4 young people, they're adults, seniors in high school, on television out of 3,000. And for that, they're banning our YouTube channel. We've been hacked today. So we can't actually show you what we're saying or what eyewitnesses are saying because they're pulling the videos and trying to block our site so they can lie about what we've done. So we're at a historic crossroads right now. If we give in to this intimidation, every time there's a shooting, which will continue out of 330 million people, even though it's a rare occurrence, a mass shooting, every time it'll be more of our rights taken away. They've now admitted in the New York Times and NBC they want to repeal the Second Amendment. At least they're being honest. So joining us for the rest of the hour is the one, the only Ted Nugent of TedNugent.com. He used to have 20 million followers on Facebook, but they deleted it down to 3 million like they did us. So the left has all their fake bots. We have real fans. And he joins us right now, one of the probably the most staunch living defender of the Second Amendment. They've been calling for him to be kicked off the NRA board. Jimmy Kimmel, who gets his talking points from Chucky Schumer, after they defamed him and slandered him and said that he said no one died. Lying pig creatures. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. So he's one of the few people in the same boat as I, where they are trying to just absolutely intimidate and shut everybody up right now. We're at such a historic crossroads. You agree with me, Ted, that if we back off now and start giving in when the issue is the stand down by the sheriff's department, this leftist, this Islamist sympathizer, what does the king of the defense of the Second Amendment have to say?
Well, Alex, number one, greetings from a we the people perspective. I appreciate the opportunity to speak truth, logic, and common sense with Alex Jones, and thank you for everything that you do. But believe me, Mom and Pop America, my blood brothers across the heartland, all across this great country, especially here in the Republic of Texas, we are well aware of the orgy of fake news, the runaway dishonesty, the abject hatred that comes from the left. It's not the left isn't bullying. It's pure terrorism when they can get away with such nasty lies, and particularly for those of us who really want to save innocent lives, especially as the father of 7 and the grandfather of 14. And I've had my Ted Nugent Camp for Kids where we've graduated 16,000 young Americans with hunter safety and marksmanship and safe gun handling and real conservation and a clean and sober, be the best that you can be lifestyle. I'm directly connected with the youth of America, even though I'm pushing 70 right now. But believe me, Alex, what you espouse, what you state, when you speak, when I speak, we know that Jimmy Kimmel is a liar. These punks on the left, they cannot debate me. They've tried in the past, and every time they try with their nonsense and their fake news and their dishonesty, I crush them. I literally.
You won all the debates with Piers Morgan, all of them.
I've never lost a debate because which is why they don't invite me back again. But the bottom line is the truth and logic and common sense that you're talking about here. America knows that. You know, you've got your dumbing down of America, which is well represented by the idiots in the media and most of academia and our own government. I mean, our own government is completely out of control, and certainly the hypocrites in Hollywood who have, machine gun-toting armed guards but want to ban you and I from owning a squirrel rifle. I'm just glad that we're able to get the truth out because they keep claiming that weapons of war are used in these shootings. Lie. There were no assault weapons ever used in any of these shootings because no society would send the heroes of our military into battle with a semi-automatic weapon. An assault weapon is a fully automatic machine gun never used in any of these shootings. I mean, they can't even get the nomenclature proper. They call them clips. There's no clips. Nobody used a clip. They had magazines.
Ted Nugent, the American people, as you said, know that. I sense and I see this as the total assault, trying to attack gun owners, saying kill the NRA, lying about you, lying about everybody else. These 4 horsemen, of the anti-gun, takeover are the only ones we see on the news. Fake town hall meetings. It's on. CNN calling for me to be taken off the air, for us to be banned, and then filing complaints to have. They've killed our live streaming on YouTube. CNN trying to kill the First Amendment. What do we do? And when we come back in a few minutes, we'll talk about Trump. We'll have some of the statements here. So he's still speaking, a lot better than Hillary. But, this idea that, we've got to do something and implying that gun owners having their rights restricted, is the issue. What about all the warnings? What about him being on government-issued drugs? What about the stand down of the sheriff's department?
Bingo, bingo, ditto, ditto, ditto. I know how we can win this. We did it in November of 2016. And, Michael, I know exactly how to do this. I know how to get Michael Savage elected by real red state Californians. I know how to do this, and we'll talk about it when we come back.
Absolutely. We got 1 minute till we go to break. Ted, do you agree with me, though, that this is the strongest, most focused, most deceptive attack and the bullying and trying to get the banks to not let the NRA, and if they go down, everybody else, to not be able to engage in commerce? That is Nazi-level racketeering. That's what you do before you arrest the people.
Absolutely. Let me make it perfectly clear. I'm on the board of directors of the National Rifle Association for the last 26 or so years, and I represent mom and pop America, real working hard, playing hard Americans in the asset column who know that we have a gift of life from God and a moral obligation, a constitutional guarantee to keep and bear arms to defend our life. Anybody that doesn't get that might as well call, and see if Michael Moore can give us any points on.
Stay there. Ted Nugent on the other side. This is their main assault. This is it. They know that we're kicking their butt politically, so they're going to come in here and go after everything. What do we do? Straight ahead. So America is founded on the Second Amendment. So-called semi-automatic assault rifles, which they aren't, as Ted Nugent rightfully pointed out, NRA board member, are involved in 2% of federal crime statistics from the entire nation. The FBI reports 2% of gun crime is what you call an assault rifle. It's handguns and shotguns that criminals generally use, everybody knows. But they use mass shootings, which are flat since the 1990s. They're still tragedies. They never report on Mexico's crime rate that's 10 times, 150,000 dead. They never report on all the millions of times guns are used to stop crime. They never show nationally the guy trying to rape women at a liquor store and attacking them, and then, the women shoot them. They never show that. That'll not be on the local news. And when you try to share that on Facebook or Google, they ban it because they don't want you to see that. So Ted Nugent's here, NRA board member. They want him off the board. They want to have a cucked operation. Trump, who I'd give an A+, is like saying, well, maybe we'll stop up to 21. They're still going to get him illegally like Lanza did. So this is crazy. What we need is this sheriff. I'm sure you've seen the clips. He says it's not his responsibility if his deputies are cowards and stood down. He's that arrogant. We'll play the clip in the next segment. And then you've got these admitted talking point young people out there that if we say, hey, you're spouting Democrat talking points, they lie and say that we're bullying children and that nothing happened. It's just next level. So you were also getting into solutions, how we fight back. I mean, this is obviously the big one. Ted Nugent.
Well, number one, Alex, ditto, ditto, ditto. Thank you very much. But here's the most important battle cry of all, and we proved it in November of 2016. Every American that's listening to us right now needs to be a member of the National Rifle Association. That's job one. And not just being a member ourselves, but we need to sign up our friends, our coworkers, people at school and church, at the barbecue, our families. We need to make the National Rifle Association, which is a grassroots organization of families who believe in self-defense and believe in the right to keep and bear arms. It's a self-evident truth. It's not a view. It's not an assumption. We need to make sure that everybody we know are members of the NRA, because the fake news, their number one target is freedom. Their number one target is the National Rifle Association, and the National Rifle Association is rock solid in the asset column of America with law enforcement, law and order, and legal gun owners across this land. So that's number one. But let's get right to what you and I first talked about many years ago. As horrible as Saul Alinsky, Nazi, oppressive, tyrannical left as they are, nothing compares to the curse of apathy in our own ranks. We didn't vote for John McCain because he stood for nothing. We didn't vote for Mitt Romney because he brought a doily to a grenade fight. Everybody listening, you need to get everybody you know, families, friends, co-workers, people at church and school, everybody in your life, to make sure we do what we did in November of 2016 and vote for Republicans and put the pressure, we the people pressure, for constitutional accountability from our elected employees. What I just outlined, Alex, is the fix. It's how you fix the hatred from the left. It's how you fix the dishonesty of the media and the dumbing down of academia. If we, the people who know better, actually do our job in this experiment in self-government, we can have anything we want, which we proved. We got a status quo crusher in November 2016 when a non-politician came in, Donald J. Trump, and represents the real working hard, playing hard families of this country. And if we don't do that, we get what we deserve.
That's right. It's ours to lose. We just won the first half. They've come out of their bunkers cheating, lying, stealing. They've got 20 players on the field. We've got 11. But it doesn't matter. We've got justice on our side. And if we get aggressive and don't get into a backpedaling with all their fake guilting. When the left funded the Arab Spring that killed over 1 million people, mainly men, women, and children who were not radical Muslims, they have blood all over their hands. They're the corrupt ones. The Democrats came out, as you know, on CBS News. Cheryl Atkinson shipped guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. They got caught running that false flag. So we need to be in their face offensively. And the president's doing a great job talking about the sheriff standing down and why weren't the warning signs listened to. Well, that's the point. If all the default warning signs aren't listened to, and the cops have been out to his house, you know, dozens of times for him saying, I'm going to kill everybody, it's not even the cops' fault on those cases because the prosecutors didn't do anything. And this guy's, you know, an adult, 19 when this goes down. So it's just crazy to blame. It's like if somebody runs over somebody with a car. When the jihadi ran over folks in New York a few months ago, they didn't blame the manufacturer of the truck. It's just crazy. What do we do to get back in their face, to get aggressive in the face of this Soros? Soros is funding the Women's March. The Women's March is funding these walkouts. And I see Sheriff Clark and everybody going, it looks like Soros is behind this. You don't just organize this overnight. Soros is admittedly funding it. So we need to get out there and point this out.
Well, a lot of our, good guys, conservatives, the NRA members, there's a lot of shouting and fist pumping at the television, but when it comes time to do our job as Americans, we don't get out there and vote. We don't put pressure on elected officials. Alex, I'm just a guitar player, but every elected employee in America knows exactly what the Nugent family demands, what we expect from them. Constitutional accountability. Americans don't raise enough hell. Americans don't spotlight enough cockroaches with their elected employees. And then in so many instances in California, we're talking about the great Michael Savage running for office. I know real California. California is a solid red state. You only have high crime blue smudges where Democrats and liberals ruin everything. But if you look at the map of America, we are rock solid red except for liberal Democrat high crime blue smudges of hell. So those people in all those red zones, they've got to get out there and raise more hell and vote. And if we what I did in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, Alex, is I wallpaper and carpet bombed the media, and I scolded the licensed hunters, 800,000 plus.
And by the way, they know at the White House it was probably Ted Nugent and of course Drudge and others, but that took us over the top in those former Democrat purple states. I mean, and you just, I know, I talked to folks who were involved. You were working 16 hours a day because you get it. The globalists want to break our will. They want to conquer us. And taking our guns is the ultimate coup de grace. We are dealing with a known group of criminals.
I experienced it in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Of course, we all know that that's why we have President Trump in the White House. And in the media, I was on every talk show and every news show and every rock station and did interviews nonstop for months and months and months in those three pivotal states. And I explained how embarrassing it is to qualify as a reliably blue state in those three states where you have more licensed deer hunters than the rest of the country combined. And I'm telling you, Alex, it was as easy as getting those licensed hunters as a voting bloc. The Teamsters and the union guys that have been lied to and scammed by their union lying, fake news, liberal Democrat leadership. We finally got that voting bloc active, and I'm telling you, Alex, 50 states. We could do it in 50 states. Even if the real Californians in red California, if they just went to the polls, we could unseat the lying Dianne Feinstein, who's on
Stay right there. Her own party's thrown her overboard. In fact, she can't even get the nomination. We'll be back to talk about the globalists have their storm, we have ours, and we're launching the counteroffensive for America right now.
Someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
We confirm suspicions at Veritas. It's not a shock to you, but to get the employee at YouTube on tape admitting that they do it? You must be a threat if they call you out by name.
It's also what happens when you listen to the radio host, Alex Jones.
As of just a short time ago, and I'm talking about when this meeting started, on Twitter, if you clicked on the hashtag NYC terrorist attack, which is, quote, trending, marked with a red button saying, quote, live. The top tweet links to an InfoWars story with the headline, Imam, I warned de Blasio about New York City terror. He was too busy bashing Trump.
I don't know what happens in somebody's mind or how dark their heart must be to say things like that.
This is a real-time example of when we talk about this information being weaponized.
But Trump doesn't challenge these lies. He actually went on Jones's show and said,
your reputation's amazing. I will not let you down. You will be very, very impressed, I hope.
He still calls Alex Jones and talks to him, and, you know, the InfoWars
conspiracy
theories.
How quickly can you act, and what's your responsibility to set the record straight so that the people who saw this know that it's fake news, and at least at some point in time it can't keep spreading like some sort of virus through the legitimate world?
That's something we're thinking about all the time, because it's a bad user experience, and we don't want to be known as a platform for that.
The Russians ran an extensive information war campaign against my campaign to influence voters in the election. They did it through false news sites. They did it through these 1,000 agents. They did it through machine learning, which, you know, kept spewing out this stuff over and over again. And they began to have some of their allies within the internet world, like InfoWars, take out pieces and began to say the most outrageous, outlandish, absurd lies you can imagine.
Google is being accused of hiding negative stories about Hillary and her campaign by changing its algorithm to bury stories like the Clinton body count story. That's according to website InfoWars.
You have RT, you have Sputnik, you have Repeal, and then I think you have them feeding other entities. InfoWars comes to mind, where those are echo chambers.
It's been widely reported that that company's been backed by the Kremlin, and they gave you 75,000 shares that you had to disclose when you went into the Obama administration.
Maybe you're looking at widely reported information from InfoWars.
No, I'm not.
But it is not true.
This is Politico. This is the New York Times. This is the Wall Street Journal.
No, it's not.
If a Google user types in Clinton body, they get car repair shop results instead of a story that talks about a list of people tied to the Clintons who have died under mysterious circumstances over the last 3 decades. Now, the latest story was the death of DNC staffer Seth Rich, who was murdered last month in an apparent robbery. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has hinted that Rich was his source, but has made no further comments about the case. That murder, we should say, remains unsolved.
The Russians, in my opinion, and based on the intel and counter-intel people I've talked to, could not have known how best to weaponize that information unless they had been guided.
All that stuff exists. You don't see it, you don't feel it if you're largely living in reality and in a mainstream media world. But it's undermining our democracy, and I think that the companies themselves, they've taken some steps. They have a lot of responsibility.
Companies like Facebook.
Google, etc.
Right.
To do what they can to essentially not enhance this.
How quickly can you act, and what's your responsibility to set the record straight?
The system self-corrected. That shouldn't be the first tweet you see anymore. It should be a USA article the last time I checked.
But you saw this.
USA Today. At lunch I did, yeah. And I also saw the system correct it.
That man's a threat to this country.
They didn't call out Fox News by name. They didn't call out anyone else by name. They said, when it comes to Alex Jones, we need people to scroll and manually find him and manually have to find that video. We're not going to allow that video, if it gets 10 million views, to be on the front of the so-called news carousel.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. It's
Alex Jones.
Introducing Icarin, a 30-day liver and kidney cleanse, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. We have set out with top researchers and developers to bring you the strongest, purest, most potent, documented system for your liver and your kidneys. There are 2 different formula blends in one powerful capsule. It also funds the InfoWar, a total 360 win. Icarin, available now at InfoWarsLife.com.